take it one step further. Is that on the table? And then the off-topic question, I'll just get them in and then you can answer.
Sounds good.
I know you were just talking to my colleague Dan about the comments that Cuomo made on the Sid Rosenberg show this morning. You stopped short of calling it Islamophobic. Do you believe Mr. Cuomo or Mr. Rosenberg were being Islamophobic?
Yes, I believe that they were. We're talking about a radio show host who's described me as an animal, who's called me a terrorist. We're speaking about a former governor who, in his final moments in public life, is engaging in rhetoric that is not only Islamophobic, not only racist, is also disgusting, and is his final closing argument with less than 2 weeks before Election Day. New Yorkers are living in the most expensive city in the United States of America. They're looking for a mayor who will deliver affordability, deliver safety. And Andrew Cuomo's message is to smear and slander the first Muslim candidate on the verge of leading this city. To look at a city where 1 in 8 New Yorkers are Muslim and say that by virtue of your faith, you are worthy of suspicion. It is both incredibly disappointing and yet not surprising, given how Andrew Cuomo has run this campaign and how little he thinks of the very people that he is also going to serve if he were to actually be a leader in this city.
So would you take your initiative forward? Yeah.
And yes, please.
Yeah. So just on the initiative related to mental health services, after they have a baby, the state of New York, through Kathy Hochul, actually expanded that Medicaid can be used for 1 year. Instead, it was only used for 3 months. They expanded it to 1 year for mental health services for new mothers, so they can be eligible for it. If you have private insurance, you should check to make sure that you have access to that as well. But in both cases, when it comes to mental health services, we've expanded it and made it so that it's something that's a standard in our city. And hopefully you guys push that and educate people on the availability of these resources.
And I think the point being also the borough president's remarks is that we are incredibly exciting at delivering a baby baskets program across the city, and it will not be the end of the efforts that we bring forth to make it easier to raise a family here in New York City.
Yeah,
so we know the difference.
Sorry, just...
Thank you. I know you're going to kill me. I have just your reaction to the Eric Adams anticipated endorsement today of Mr. Cuomo. And also, I hear what you're saying about the comments this morning on the radio. What do you say to people who question whether any of the words, either in your Latin music or old posts on social media, may have helped to fuel this narrative against you?
You know, 1 year ago today, we launched our campaign. And on that day, we made clear that Eric Adams and Andrew Cuomo are two illustrations of the same broken politics. And today will be an illustration for New Yorkers of the fact that Eric Adams' record is Andrew Cuomo's agenda. When Andrew Cuomo looks at a record of raising rents by more than 12% on more than 2 million New Yorkers, a record of raising the water bill to the highest it's been in 13 years, a record of supporting Con Edison when they wanted to increase gas and electric by $65 a month, and a record of failing to take on a broken property tax system, he sees his own agenda. And we also know that this is the art of the deal. We have a president of this country who has spoken publicly of his desire for Eric Adams to drop out of the race. Eric Adams dropped out. Spoken of his desire for candidates to consolidate behind Andrew Cuomo. Today, Eric Adams is endorsing Andrew Cuomo. And so we know that in a moment when New Yorkers are looking for an answer to the authoritarianism that we're seeing from Washington, D.C., they don't want the continuation of making City Hall into an embassy of that same administration. And to your second question, I do not think that anything justifies these kinds of remarks. And for Andrew Cuomo to have been on stage with me yesterday, speaking about how he was going to bring New Yorkers together, and then the next morning get on a radio show and say this kind of language, it shows both how hollow his commitments are and how he is in fact the illustration of the very division he says that he would fight.
Awesome. We've got time for one more.
We know
We're
the
going to go
difference.
right here.
What should other Democrats learn from the success of your campaign?
Last night we spent 90 minutes listening to politicians. For many New Yorkers, that's their experience of politics, hearing a politician tell you again and again what you should care about. This campaign has been one where we have sought to bring the concerns of New Yorkers to the forefront, where we've looked to listen to New Yorkers. You know, a year ago we began the campaign, and we said then what we say now. We're going to freeze the rent for rent-stabilized tenants, make buses fast and free, deliver universal childcare. It wasn't because we had commissioned a poll, we couldn't afford a poll. It was because we had actually spoken to New Yorkers and heard from them at their doorsteps, at their bus stops, as they were walking through their city, of what they were facing, and they were saying it was the cost of living. And it is time for us to put forward a politics that speaks to that concern. Because if we do not do so, we will have presidents like Donald Trump exploit that despair as a means by which to only heighten it. Fiorello LaGuardia said many decades ago, you cannot preach liberty to a starving land. We cannot speak about the virtue of democracy if we don't then deliver on democracy's ability to address the material needs of working class people. We have to show that city government's job is to make life easier for New Yorkers, and then we have to do the work of actually doing so. And so I'm proud to be here alongside examples of people who have done so when they have led the borough of Brooklyn, and parents who do so every single day. They make the impossible possible. And so every time I hear a politician telling me what we can't do, I look to the parents who have the same amount of hours in the day as I do, but somehow manage to not only move themselves through the day, but raise another child in this city. They are an example of what's possible if we put our minds to it. I'm excited to be the next mayor to actually show that same kind of resolve in City Hall instead.
Great.
Thank you very much.
We have Seiko group
Thank you.
here.
Okay.
Parents can just take 5 steps backwards.
Okay. Keep stepping back a little bit further for me. Okay. All the babies! Oh, okay.